My mum is awesome, so Dad was proud as hell of me, my son the superhero and all that. But Mum could tell I wasn't feeling great. So she excused me from going to church with the family, and hey, a full box of donuts from Donut World and some yerba mates to drink. She got it, I needed time, and despite some grousing from Mackenzie and Merida, there was a definite theme to our parents naming us. I got the house to myself for a few hours, which I promptly decided to use the best possible use of my time. Playing Minecraft. Outside of the speedrunning manhunt community, you can't really get better at playing Minecraft past a certain point, and that was a point I'd long since passed. The normalcy of it was amazing, and I made a mental note to look into other stuff that wasn't really a get-better activity. I think people deeply underestimate the importance of doing nothing. It's all well and good to have ambitions and stuff, but honestly, sometimes it's just nice to have nothing going on. After Minecraft, I decided to watch some wrestling and anime. It was as I was binging Food Wars, eating some instant ramen, a thought popped into my head. I could learn to make better ramen. For those who make ramen in Japan, it was a years-long study to make solid, proper ramen in the traditional sense, but with my abilities, couldn't I learn to make it a bit faster? The house phone rang and checking the number, it was Mum. I picked up.
Hey, Ma.
How are you doing, sweetie?
The slight concern was easy to hear. Wait, social cues are a thing. Do I get better at social cues?
I'm feeling better. Sorry I haven't talked much. I just needed a minute.
She paused a moment.
I know, and I want to talk to you about that face-to-face. But Merida managed to guilt your dad into going to Dave & Buster's. Are you up for it, or do you want to sit this out? I just want what's best for you.
With some time to just relax, I was feeling better, and not gonna lie, it's one of my favorite places to... I had a laugh.
Yeah, I want to go.
Mum came and got me, the rest going ahead, and we hit up Fred Meyer's so I could replace my outfit. This would end up freeing me up from doing the trip with my sisters, so hey, big upswing. Now armed with a new wardrobe, we went to D&B, where everyone else had ordered. I pretty much got the same thing every time, so Dad had just ordered my regular stuff, which was coming out as I sat down. I wolfed down the whole plate and, power card in hand, went into the game room, barely talking to anyone. The little wheedler knew something was up and followed along with me. Okay, so 1%. Following the previous example of bowling, there was a way to break this place open like a piggy bank. Before anything, though, I went around the game room, doing some math. It seems silly, but going after the games with the largest jackpot payout isn't necessarily your best bet in this situation. A high payout game might be mostly about luck, RNG, and that won't let me exploit my ability. Claw machines? Nah, I'm at the mercy of the claw itself, and however often they've done maintenance on it, so that doesn't work. Deal or no deal? Some deductive reasoning, but mostly at the mercy of luck still. Skee-ball. It's almost pure skill, and it uses the same essential muscle groups as bowling. All the balls weigh exactly the same. I'd already been decent at it, so why not? Merida knew I was up to something, so she was definitely not going away anytime soon. So fine, let's enlist her in it.
Okay, Bit, you know I got powers, right?
She nodded, and I saw a slight glint in her eyes.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I need you to keep quiet about what I'm doing, and if I need to, I might need your card. If this works like I think it will, I'll get you something nice at the prize store. Deal?
We shook on it, and I got started. I definitely improved, and the skill sets did dovetail nicely. I needed a score of 550 to jackpot out. I got 340 my first game, then 450 on the second, and on the fifth game, I hit it. 1,000 tickets. Okay, let's go again. Jackpot, jackpot, jackpot. Each time, the score needed for jackpot raised, until finally, I would need a perfect score every time to hit it. Merida's jaw was on the floor.
Okay, Bit, we're gonna shoot hoops now, okay?
She nodded frantically, and off we went to shoot hoops. This I didn't do as well at, initially. Sure, it's a ball going in a direction, but it's a different game, using throwing instead of rolling. Long term, though, it just didn't matter. Within a few rounds, I was hitting jackpot again, and kept it going until I hit the same point. I kept moving between games, dumping out of them as I approached maximum scores. Sure, people were going to hate me for the rest of the day, since the scores needed for jackpot generally increased every time someone hit it. But hey, no complaints from my end, and besides which, it would reset tomorrow anyway. I still couldn't win any of the real big-ticket items, but damn had I raked it in. It was nuts. I got Merida her agreed-upon item, and she left with her stuffed unicorn the size of me, and we got back to the table as dessert arrived. Merida was super proud.
Look what Mark won me.
She's the only one who gets away with calling me Mark. I sat and had some ice cream and a root beer float, with Mackenzie giving me a look.
Geez, it's not like the food's gonna run away.
I had to work on a better solution for eating. Larabars could work. They tasted good enough, and they were quick calories. The issue was, I'd need a metric ton of them to keep from inhaling a small banquet every time I stopped to eat. I should probably talk to Anna about that. I took my phone off of Do Not Disturb, and it exploded with notifications, mostly messages from Daryl. Those I just dismissed, but apparently I had some stuff from the HAA. Reading it, they'd gone over my blood work and didn't have an issue, and apparently they did provide help for unique challenges associated with my new powers. The specific example they listed was that speedsters tended to burn up tons of calories, and programs were offered to help with the caloric impact. After we finished up and got home, I sat down and set up a board on Jira and Miro. These were apps that game and software developers use to arrange projects, Jira for setting goals and making backlogs, with Miro for a sort of digital whiteboard thing. I sent links to Daryl because I couldn't have him constantly texting me all day, and then got startled when Mum knocked on my door.
Can I come in?
Yeah, Ma.
She came in and closed the door softly behind her, taking a seat on my bed while I was sitting in my computer chair.
How are you feeling, sweetheart?
I took a steadying breath.
It's a lot, not gonna lie.
She didn't make any particular move, just laying her hands in her lap.
Do you want to talk about it?
I looked at my hands. What would they look like in a year? A strange thought, but I was already changing.
Want to? No, but I need to. It's so weird. Like, it's gonna sound stupid, but this power, it's so scuffed.
Mum cocked her head.
Scuffed?
Sorry, OP, overpowered. Like, there are wildly better powers out there, but like, wait, I can show you.
I grabbed a deck of my magic cards, put my hat upside down on the computer desk, and rolled my chair across the room. I started idly tossing cards, trying to get them into the hat, and at first I was missing, sometimes by a wide margin, but steadily, card after card, sailed into the hat until every single card started going in.
See? I've never tried that before in my life. I just saw it on that movie with Bill Murray you groan about when Dad watches. I went bowling with Daryl yesterday, and by the time we finished, I could hit a perfect score on both hands. I got perfect scores on skee ball, and pretty much every game I played today at Dave & Buster's. And this is all just since Friday. And look at my shoulder.
I popped out of my shirt really quick and showed Mum my shoulders and arms.
See? I didn't have muscle like this Friday. This is just from bowling Saturday. I even had to switch hands to even out, because I got stronger so fast. Everything I keep doing, I get better, and I get better insanely quickly. It's like I'm on some sort of cheat code in a game.
Mum looked me over, concern in her eyes.
Are you in any pain?
I shook my head and then thought about it.
No, I feel great, but I should be, shouldn't I? I mean, my shoulders should at least ache, like when I started with karate, but no, I'm fine. I mean, I'm hungry, but that seems to just be a new feature of this thing. Daryl says it's because of how rapidly my body is changing, so I guess that might ease off eventually. I need to talk to Anna. She's the psychic lady that they gave me to talk to about stuff. It's just, I'm scared. I mean, where does this stop? Does it stop? All the superpowers I've ever heard of are pretty much set, or it's like magic, where you need years of study and experience to get better at it. I'm not even trying that hard.
Mum crossed and hugged me.
I know, it's scary, and it's okay to feel all sorts of things about this. It's a huge change, and it's normal to feel conflicted about things.
I hate crying. Showing vulnerability at school was a good way to lose your lunch money. Yeah, I took karate, but class isn't a real fight, where I might hurt someone. I never wanted to hurt anyone, and that always left me on the losing side, because I never even wanted to hurt the bullies. Here and now, though, I was in my mum's arms, and I let it all go. I slept that night, and when I woke, it was early. No one else was up yet, so I went downstairs and made myself breakfast. Food was going to be incredibly important to me now, and I made a point to grab my mum's old copy of The Joy of Cooking and found an omelette recipe. We bought a lot of eggs in our house, so reading along, I started the work. According to the book, the key to a proper omelette was to cook the egg on low heat and to not disturb it much. Then there was the seasoning and whatever oddments I would use. Here I wanted to recreate a spinach and mushroom omelette. I could almost start to track as the improvement hit. I was starting to pay attention for it. Between reading and taking time with each stage, I could start to feel the hint of it. Feeling a bit on the cocky side, I decided to make some hollandaise sauce, like at IHOP. The first couple of tries it separated, but steadily I got it. It wasn't the best, and the whole thing looked slapped together, but it was an essential proof of concept. I was advancing at absolutely anything I decided to do. The world was now a skill issue, and I could learn any skill I wanted. I was finishing up and starting to clean up my mess when Mum came in, probably to get started on breakfast.
Hey Ma, sorry about the mess, I'm cleaning it up.
She seemed like she wanted to say something, but instead she took a seat, smiling.
Very well then. If it isn't too much trouble, I'd like some breakfast, please.
I nodded.
All right then, let's make some omelets.
Sunday was a godsend for me. I'd needed a day of just being silly, and Mum hugs are just the best. I made omelettes for everyone Monday morning, and with Mum giving hints, it went a lot better than base learning. So one more theory confirmed. Teachers are still a necessity, at least until I get to the point of being able to do it on my own. I checked my boards online, and Daryl had been busy. All sorts of things I would need, according to him, which all pertained to what he'd read of superheroes in comics. I considered playing along, but you know what? Let's see what I can really do. I texted him.
OPM Park, 9 a.m.
While I wanted to talk to Anna, the problem was I didn't really have proof of anything, and I would just be a scared kid making up stuff in his head if I tried to walk in there 3 days after eval with nothing definitive. So let's get some definition. Mum picked up protein powder for me. It was easier than trying to eat whole chickens, and I waited for Daryl at the park while Mum went to see the Canadian geese that were just starting their trip south for the winter. Daryl came up, tablet in hand and ready to work.
Daryl, okay, today's plan, One Punch Man. We're gonna Saitama this shit.
100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and a 10-kilometer run every day. It got dubbed the
One Punch Man workout.
After the anime, and clinically speaking, it wasn't advisable to actually do that, since it would put absurd strain on your body. From what I'd seen, though, my body didn't work the same, and I needed to find the line, and the only way to find it was to cross it. Daryl was only too eager to do this. I popped in my earbuds, did my opening warm-up stretches from karate class, then hit push-up position. I thought about doing regular push-ups, but in karate we did knuckle push-ups, which I was more used to by now. I got to 30 before I had to stop for a minute. I rotated my shoulders, stretched, hydrated, and popped a Larabar blueberry muffin flavor. I went back to it and got another 35, stretch, 5-minute rest break, hydrate, and finished out the remainder. All during this, Daryl was recording on the tablet, which he had hooked to a solar charger, and took notes on his laptop. Then followed sit-ups and squats, and all during it Daryl would also take pictures with my shirt off. He didn't go over what he was looking for, but I got the gist of it. It was a progress check. So pics right before I start, and then on each break. And a final one after the exercise, alongside video of the workout itself. This process repeated for sit-ups and squats. I was in decent enough shape, really. I just wasn't that physically ambitious before now. The 10K, though, that I wasn't so sure about. I'd jogged and run before, certainly, but that's over 6 miles of running. 6.25 was confirmed by Daryl, which didn't help. He said to just do the same thing I'd done with the rest. Run till I felt like I needed to stop, take a 5-10 minute break, and do some more. For this challenge, Daryl had a GoPro rig to monitor me, as well as one on my chest, and his dad's smartwatch was being used to monitor my heart rate. Daryl himself was on his bike, because we both knew he wasn't running 6 miles, plus it let him carry more with him, of which the Gatorade would be essential for me. Portland notwithstanding, it was still August and it was warm out. Our biggest hurdle initially was that my running speed wasn't enough for Daryl's pedaling speed to keep the bike straight, so he was wobbling all over the place. I took my first break when my watch beeped, the first km traveled. I looked to Daryl, Ice Blue 1. An Ice Blue Gatorade was tossed my way, and I took a moment to towel off before slamming the whole bottle. In the end, this part was the most grueling. I'd already pushed myself a lot, and 6 miles is 6 miles. It doesn't matter if you're steadily improving at it. I had to keep stopping, and while I did finish, my times weren't precisely marathon material. We were both exhausted at the end of it, with Daryl forcing himself to get his final pictures.
Okay, man, that's enough of that shit. You got faster while you were running.
Really? Neat.
Daryl sort of both nodded and shook his head at the same time.
Yeah, we need to figure out another way for the run tomorrow. I can't keep doing this every day. I was barely in it by the end of it.
I just laid there for a bit, getting my breathing back into line, and closed my eyes for a moment.
We need to keep at it, though. You're right. I think the guys at the HFY got my eval wrong. This whole thing feels broken, but I need more.
That's it!
Daryl hopped up, or tried to, got wobbly and sat back down.
We need to go to the HFY. They have a full gym up there and their equipment is rated for superpowers. They showed it to us as part of the tour. You missed it because you were all, I've got powers now.
I quirked an eyebrow at him at that last bit, but I chuckled. He wasn't wrong. The HFY would have all the equipment we needed, and frankly, free access to the cafeteria for me was starting to be a necessity. I still didn't fully get the eating thing, but I'd eaten more since Friday than I'd ever eaten before.
That's for tomorrow. We're done on physical stuff today.
Daryl nodded emphatically at that.
So, what do we do now?
I sat up, propping myself up on my elbows.
I'm thinking lunch. Then I'm going to start learning coding.
I'm all for it, man, but why coding?
I'm starting to think about it, and honestly, these powers are like cheat codes. If I want to be the greatest athlete that ever lived, I just am, and no one can keep up without insane superpowers. Like, what would my career look like as a pro bowler? It was one of the things that was occurring to me more and more. I had this ability for incremental improvement. And even that thought, looking further down the road, it's part of it. I'm not just getting better at the physical stuff. I'm getting calmer about the powers. I'm starting to think about the long run of this and other stuff. The only places that aren't affected by my powers are things where creativity and artistry are at the heart of it, rather than a specific technical skill. So I figure I start coding, use Minecraft as a basis, and maybe we learn to make a video game of our own. Something that can be mine, not my powers.
Daryl got up again, more slowly this time, and I hopped to my feet as he looked at me for a moment.
I'm sorry, man. I didn't really realize how much this changes things for you.
I shook my head.
It's fine, dude. It's not really yours to think about it, and I get it. You wanted powers, to see a superhero in action, but it just comes with weight attached.
We walked across the park to catch up with Mum, and I saw something I'd taken for granted for a while now. A small group of shoddy tents in an unused corner of the park. There were little tent groups like that strewn around the city, and while I'd more or less learned to ignore and avoid them, it caught my eye now. I opened my Miro board and looked at it, at all the projects that were about me, about my powers, my costume, my career, my superhero name. Me. I grabbed the backpack from Daryl and stalked over to the tents, who initially trailed after me but stopped as he saw where I was heading. He tried to say something, but I just ignored it. An older man was there, with a dog laying next to him, wagging its tail furiously as it saw me coming, and barked happily.
Hi, I'm sorry, but this is all I have.
I handed over a handful of Lara bars, a couple of Gatorades, and threw the dog some string cheese. The man thanked me, and by the time I turned, I was shaking and crying. I was getting angry, and as I thought about it, really looking around, I could feel myself getting angrier, like there was too much rage to hold in my own body. I texted Mum, telling her I needed alone time, that I was okay, but Daryl would need a ride home. I hugged Daryl and told him I'd talk to him later and jogged off on my own. It started off as a jog, but I found myself picking up speed, trying to put the anger I felt into something that wasn't another person or breaking things. 800,000 heroes in the world, and we still had camps of homeless people. People that could run food around the entire globe in moments. But that old guy was rail-thin, powers that could trivialize construction times, and still people slept in the streets, in bus shelters, in parks, under bridges. Even Anna, a full psychic therapist, and we were letting people wallow in their own misery. I stopped running, not so much because I was out of anger, but more out of land. I wasn't precisely sure how long I'd been running, but I'd run all the way from southeast Portland to the Columbia River. Okay, the anger wasn't really helping things. Come on, Sensei Bill went over this. Find your center. I stood on a small beach along the Columbia and forced myself to breathe, closing my eyes, using a slow hand motion with both hands to focus it all down. There was a way, I just needed to learn. I need to get better. I need money. However much I might like the idea that I could just get people to do the right thing, the reality of it was most of the city lived 3 seconds to fucked o'clock at any given point. They might love to help, but they couldn't spare the time from trying to survive, couldn't turn their food and rent money into a solution for others. But how do I make money? I mean, allowance isn't enough by any stretch. Okay, work? I'm 14, I'm not really hireable, and even if I was, I had almost no time for a job around school, karate, scouts, and training. So how do I make money? Gig work. Again, 14, there's limits, and I'll get steeply underpaid at that. Come on, there's got to be something. I looked at my phone. Twitch. It wasn't actually that hard, come to think of it. The Hey A kept the identities of heroes a secret, for obvious retaliatory reasons, but there was no particular reason I couldn't reveal things about me, no reason I couldn't use it. An open super was not a thing, the various hero orgs had seen to that, but then who would intentionally expose themselves like that? Sure, I couldn't really fight crime by the rules and regs, but this wasn't crime fighting. This wasn't strictly illegal. I called Daryl.
Change of plans. I need you to break up and edit all the video we've got in my training. Post it to YouTube, Insta, Snap, TikTok, just anywhere where we might be able to start monetizing. Let me know when it's ready to go. I've already got a Twitch channel. I'll send you the link when I post a TikTok.
I got myself set up, holding up the phone before me. This was my last chance to back out, but screw it. Screw the rules, screw the regs, screw everyone who's going to try to stop me. The recording started.
I'm Aegis, and I'm the world's first F-tier superhero.